Okay, we're back. The pots are now leather hard, and I've got the two lids together with the jar here. And I want to point out that my cap type lid doesn't fit perfectly yet, but I'm going to show you how to trim these to get them to fit really perfectly. So I'm going to start with a set-in lid. I'm going to trim both of these lids to show you a couple ways to do that. So you have a couple of options for how to trim the set-in lid. One is you can throw a pad of clay on the wheel head here and let it scrape it with a rib so it's dry but tacky, and you can center the lid right on the pad of clay. The other option would be to put the jar onto the pot and flip the lid upside down in, hey look, I'm getting a call. Would be to flip the lid upside down and actually use the jar like a chuck to trim the lid. And that's what we'll do when we trim this lid that's thrown right side up. And I'm going to go ahead and trim this first lid just on a clay pad. I'm going to draw a little concentric circle on that pad of clay to help me line up where the lid should go. Pretty good. Tap it gently to get it to stick, and then you don't have to add the extra pads of clay with this little balls of clay. So I can trim pretty fast right here. So have some fun trimming. You can do all sorts of things with texture. It's a little soft in the center. Once you're done, this should just pop right up. You can test the fit. So I've got a little bit of a wiggle in the lid, which is okay. As long as you can't see the flange when you wiggle it, you're okay. And I also want to make sure this is spinning 360 degrees without binding. Looks like it is. If it's a tiny bit on the small side, you can actually tap it on a flat surface, and that will widen it out a little bit until it works. So that's a complete knob. Let's go ahead and trim the other one. So you get a chance to see that one. I'm going to center the pot on the wheel now. Easier without the clay pad to do this. Here we go. Okay, so I take the lid that I threw right side up and I'm just going to flip it upside down right into the rim seat. I'm going to add just a little tackiness by rubbing a little water on that rim, just so it's a little bit sticky there, so that when I trim this, it's not going to move too much. I'm going to tap this down, and I'm going to do this gently because I'm only taking a little bit off. All this is really doing is reducing weight. So I'm just going to take enough off to thin it, and that's just a little bit of trimming. If your knob is really thick, you can actually trim down into the knob from while it's upside down like this to lighten it. Well, there it is. That will sit right on the rim seat as well. Okay, that's the set-in. Let's take a look at the cap-type lid. Next, I'm going to go ahead and center the jar on the clay pad. So I've got two different types of lids to choose from. One of them fits, this one's a little small after drying, and this one's not quite as small, so it fits a little better. So I'm going to go with this one as the one I want to use. So the first thing I need to do is adjust the fit. So I can do that by actually flipping this lid upside down into the pot, using the pot as a chuck. And I'm just going to gently take off a little bit of extra clay off the inside of that rim to widen it. And then I'll do the same thing with the flange. I'm going to take just a little bit off this flange. Shoulder. Okay, there, looks like we're just about there. Okay. We can work with this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take some of the clay off here. I'm going to do my best not to knock it off center. That looks pretty good. Take a look here at that little step that we put into the jar. See how it sticks out a little bit? Here's where you get to trim that excess off and make this look like it really fits well. I'm just going to use the tool to trim into that. right. Fits pretty well. Okay, let's look at the flange lid. So the flange lid right now is fitting just a little bit on the tight side. It doesn't really want to spin. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'll put it on the wheel and then we'll trim a little tiny bit off the jar itself. That's good. Take a little bit off the inside right here. Test fit. Voila, look, that's all it took. It fits. So now I get to finish the top. There you go, flange lid. Okay, your turn.